Welcome to the African Hub for Sustainable Creative Economies, a place to share research, knowledge and ideas. This project is funded by the Arts and Humanities Research Council in the United Kingdom. This video explores the research Ahead of Policy, Creative Hubs in East African Cities. This chapter is collectively written by Ayeta Anwangusa, Executive Director of CDEA, Culture and Development East Africa, Roberta Communion, Professor of Creative Economies, Department of Culture, Media and Creative Industries, King's College London, and Brian J. Hurax, Associate Professor of Human Geography, University of Southampton. There is a wide range of literature and research on co-working spaces in the global north and booming cities within East Asia. Yet, there is very little acknowledgement of the way the phenomena has spread across the global south and Africa in particular. This chapter addresses this gap by studying the emergence of hubs and co-working spaces in East Africa. In the last 5 years, there's been a sharp rise in the number of co-working spaces in Africa. This picture highlights the quick spread of co-working spaces across East Africa, with some cities clearly concentrating a high number of co-working hubs, specifically Nairobi with 39 hubs, Kampala with 8, and Dar es Salaam with 2. Creative hubs are fast becoming a worldwide phenomenon. For certain aspects, the concept of creative hubs represents a mix of both the creative clusters dynamics, common in fully developed creative economies, and the hub co-working ideas. In relation to the former, they are CCI specific and contribute to place-based regeneration and developing a shared knowledge pool. The chapter builds on an extensive literature review and policy analysis concerning the connection between policy and creative hubs in East Africa. Through the case study approach, the research explores the intrinsic values that creative hubs add to the current sustainable development paradigm. Furthermore, an ethnographic method is applied, which involves participant observation and in-depth interviews with hub managers and creative entrepreneurs in the hubs to better understand what happens within the cases. In addition, the researchers also had an extended literature review on sustainable development, cities, and creativity and creative hubs. In order to explore in more detail the importance of creative hubs in the development of CCIs in East Africa, we focus on the creative hubs of 3 East African cities as case studies. The Godown Arts Centre in Nairobi, Kenya, the Culture and Development East Africa, CDEA, hub in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and the Design Hub in Kampala, Uganda. For each case, we considered their distinct structure and history, with specific emphasis on their urban location and engagement with urban regeneration, as well as their users and creative communities that operate from those hubs. Building on the case studies, we argue that it is important to consider how their work might connect, empower, or be empowered by broader policy actions and interventions. Here it is important to consider how creative hubs can connect not only with local urban policies, but also with broader national agendas in relation to national industrial policy and also national cultural policy. This chapter has illustrated that there is a narrow linkage between the industrialisation agenda and creative hubs in the context of East African cities within their manufacturing and agricultural-focused production chains. In addition, correlation between cultural and urban policies is virtually non-existent. The Kenyan urban policy has strategies for creativity, innovation, recreational and cultural facilities and heritage, but is still in draft form. The Tanzanian cultural and urban policies do not have any correlation. For Uganda, urban policy has a strategy for the provision of incentives for innovation and creativity, and the creation of business incubators to propel urban economic growth. However, implementation is yet to take place. However, the arguments presented highlight that creative hubs in East African cities have existed outside of policy guidance, and it is important for their existence and activities to be anchored within urban policies and city master plans to enhance sustainable development. It is also important to consider how creative hubs in East Africa can survive and ride the changes brought by the COVID-19 pandemic and new challenges ahead. If you would like to read this research in more detail, consider purchasing the book, Developing Creative Economies in Africa, Spaces and Working Practices. You can keep up to date with our work and research via the social media channels of the African Hub for Sustainable Creative Economies.